Okay, let's dive straight into Where I've Been Shot Callin by Youngboy Never Broke Again.
Yeah.
What immediately grabs you is this really intense shift in feeling, this
Yeah.
almost jarring contrast between the two parts.
Yeah.
The first half is soaked in this like deep introspection, and then boom, it just explodes. Raw, assertive energy.
It's a compelling duality for sure.
Yeah.
Youngboy's known for, well, not holding back, right? His portrayal of his life is unfiltered.
Right.
And this track really holds a mirror up to those contrasting realities.
Yeah.
So our goal today, looking closely at the lyrics of the video you sent over,
Yeah.
is to really unpack what makes this two-part thing so powerful.
Yeah.
And what it tells us about him, as an artist.
What's your first take on why that contrast connects so much?
That's a good question. I think it's the honesty. Like you said before we started, he's not just showing one side. It feels more complete, maybe.
Yeah, makes sense. But let's start with Where I've Been. The title itself, it just feels heavy, like he's coming up for air after something really rough. And those first lines of the chorus, never knew how hard it'd get. Never knew it'd come to this real dark places where I've been. It just pulls you right in. What stands out to you there?
The immediate admission of, like, unexpected hardship. It's striking for an artist who often comes across as so tough.
Right.
This vulnerability, it creates an instant connection, doesn't it? Then he follows with, after all, I'm amazed that I conquered it.
Yeah.
Which brings in this resilience, but it's clearly a battle, a hard-fought one. Makes you think, what were those dark places?
Yeah.
How heavy was that weight?
You definitely feel that weight all through the first verse. He mentions shootouts, then almost in the next breath, selling out shows.
That contrast again.
It's this constant tension, isn't it, between a past steeped in violence and this present where he's striving for success. And when he says, I ain't noticed I was fucking up my life, but that they knew about.
Oof, yeah.
That's such a stark moment of self-awareness, but also kind of tinged with this feeling that maybe it was inevitable. What does that line tell you about the world he was in?
It suggests a context where maybe those destructive patterns were just normal, or at least other people could see it even if he couldn't or wouldn't at the time. And the line, made 25 doing time, I'm a grown man, that really anchors those dark places in actual consequences. It highlights how those experiences forced him to mature, maybe faster than he should have had to.
And the coping mechanisms he mentions, totin' that fire, rolling hard off of one Xan, it's just a raw glimpse into how he was navigating, well, intense pressure and probably trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't glamorize it at all. It's just presenting it as reality. Makes you think about, the lack of healthier ways to cope he might have had.
Exactly. There's no romanticizing the struggle here.
Yeah.
And that line, find my way without no compass, that's such a powerful metaphor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feeling completely lost in all the chaos.
Totally.
And then you get this internal conflict. I got it all, but tell God I'm needing something. That hits hard. It raises this really deep question about whether fame and money can actually fill those deeper voids. What do you think that something could be?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like even with all the success, there's still this unmet need, maybe peace, or like real connection.
Could be.
And it ties into the refrain, I don't know what it is holding my soul, but I won't give in no more. I gotta go big for my kids.
Yeah.
That last line feels like a real turning point, a powerful reason to push forward.
It really highlights how responsibility, especially for your kids, can just become this massive catalyst for change.
Yeah.
Thinking about it more broadly, it shows how finding purpose outside yourself can be so crucial when you're trying to overcome personal demons. Mentioning his kids makes his fight feel incredibly human.
Then in the second verse, the drug references keep coming. Smoked K2 and know them pills, I popped that. Just painting a clearer picture of those intense, dark places. And the immediate switch to paranoia, I hear something wrong that I don't like, I just say, where my Glock at? It just slams home the environment he came from, the hypervigilance it burned into him. It's like a reflex.
What's really striking is how he layers that vulnerability with this deep-seated defensiveness. Even while he's saying he wants something more.
Right.
Those survival instincts from his past are still right there, front and center. And the distrust he talks about, till none of these people pose be around, that also hints at the isolation, maybe, that comes with his experiences and, well, fame.
And then you see these concrete steps towards something different. Go and buy a brand new home with new locks on the door. Got a brand new phone. Out of contact with them hoes. It's like the practical application of wanting a new life.
Right. It moves beyond just wishing. He's actively taking steps, creating a new reality. If you think about personal growth, it shows how important setting boundaries is. Consciously cutting out negative influences.
Definitely. The third verse gets incredibly direct about his past.
He got played out, murdered most of them guys. I ain't got to speak about that. It's just, wow. A stark, almost casual mention of extreme violence.
Yeah, it hits you. Followed immediately by this sense of being worn out, admitting I'm tired, you got it, gangster, I ain't trying to be with all that. It's like he's just exhausted by that whole lifestyle. That feels like a real moment of change, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Admitting he's tired of the violence, that marks a huge shift in the story he's telling in Where I Been. It's not denying his past, but clearly saying he wants to move on.
Yeah.
And that line you mentioned earlier, no, you see the growth, the way I stride, that really hammers home this personal evolution he feels he's undergoing.
Yeah, it's a powerful claim of progress. And he even touches on his son's mother's struggles, adding another layer of personal difficulty he's dealing with. Throughout Where I've Been, the overall emotional tone feels really introspective, almost heavy. Like he says himself, I ain't sung in so long, which kind of adds to that weary sound in his delivery.
His vocal delivery in this first part is definitely raw, unfiltered. It just amplifies how authentic the lyrics feel. You can really hear the weight of everything in his voice.
You can't.
But as this section goes on, there's a subtle shift, I think, towards a more resilient, more determined tone, especially when he talks about his kids.
Vocally, it's like he's just laying it all bare. The vulnerability is there, but so is this underlying strength. Now, thinking about the production for Where I've Been, we don't have specifics from your sources, but based on his other reflective stuff, you can almost hear it, right? Probably a melancholic atmospheric soundscape, maybe a slower tempo, minor keys perhaps, a more subdued use of that heavy bass and trap sound he's known for to kind of enhance that introspective mood. Yeah,
that kind of sonic backdrop would definitely boost the lyrical themes of struggle and reflection. And thinking about literary devices, the repetition in the chorus and refrain, incredibly effective, really drives home those core ideas. Overcoming hardship, dedication to his kids.
Totally.
And even though his style is really direct, almost conversational, there are these moments of vivid imagery, like feeling trapped in a cage, or maybe even seeing himself as a king of the jungle, but in a really rough environment.
That directness, it's almost a literary device itself, isn't it? It creates this immediate connection, this sense of authenticity.
Good point.
So when you tie it all back to his personal journey, all those references to the legal system, drugs, violence, unstable relationships, these aren't just abstract lyrics, they're clearly rooted in his actual life.
Absolutely.
And the sense of growth we see, wanting stability, focusing on family, it feels incredibly genuine because of that context.
Totally agree. Where I've Been works almost like a raw sonic diary entry, documenting his journey through darkness and the progress he feels he's making.
Bam, shot calling kicks in, and it's like a completely different artist just walked into the booth. The energy just flips.
It's a stark contrast, yeah. And probably intentional, the introspection, the vulnerability of Where I've Been, gone. Replaced by this much more assertive, confrontational vibe. It's a real pivot, sonically and thematically.
Lyrically, the focus shifts hard. Now it's about wealth status pulled up in that motherfucking Maybach, privacy jet, and keeping respect, often through showing force. I got that Glock, get your pop in your dome. The distrust is still there underneath, but it's expressed through this kind of dominance.
That theme of distrust now comes out as needing constant vigilance, needing control. The language gets more boastful, more aggressive. It's showing a different side of his personality, maybe one reacting to outside pressures with like a show of strength and success.
And vocally. His delivery gets way more aggressive, more confident. The pace, the intensity, it definitely ramps up. Completely different energy.
You can almost hear the swagger, can't you? Yeah. And you can picture the production shifting to match. Probably more upbeat, harder hitting drums, more in line with his typical confrontational sound, maybe a faster tempo, bass line more prominent.
Yeah, makes sense. And lyrically in Shot Callin, it's much more about these direct declarative statements, just asserting his dominance, his place. It's a whole different way of telling a story.
I'm thinking about his background again. Those themes of wealth and status, you can see them as a direct result of his music success, right? A tangible sign he made it out. But the confrontational stuff also suggests he still feels like he needs to assert himself, maybe push back against threats, real or perceived, even with all that success. It speaks to the complexity of leaving one world, but still kind of navigating its shadows.
It's almost like Where I've Been is the internal monologue, the processing of the past struggles.
Yeah.
While Shot Callin is the external shield. The way he presents himself and deals with the here and now, that duality is really the key here, I think.
It is. And it gives us a much richer, more nuanced picture of the artist.
Yeah.
It's definitely not one-dimensional.
So to kind of wrap it up, Where I've Been Shot Callin really throws this fascinating duality in Youngboy's music into sharp relief. You get this deep dive into his past struggles, his growth in the first half,
Right.
followed by this assertive, almost defiant energy in the second.
It's a powerful mix, and it gives us this multifaceted view of his experiences and his ongoing journey. It really underscores the intricate ways past hardships keep shaping the present, especially when you're navigating fame and trying to evolve personally.
Absolutely. It makes you think, doesn't it, about how these seemingly opposite energies coexist inside him, and how they might reflect the bigger experience of grappling with your past while trying to build a totally different future. What does this tell us, maybe, about the pressures of fame and the internal battles that might still be going on under the surface of all that success?
It definitely raises some important questions about the masks we all wear sometimes and how our internal worlds don't always match what we show on the outside.
Thanks for exploring this track with me. It's always really insightful to get into the layers of an artist's work like this.
My pleasure. It was a good one to break down.
And for you listening, I definitely encourage you to go back and listen to Where I've Been Shot Callin again, maybe with some of these ideas in mind. Understanding those nuances can really deepen your appreciation for the artist's journey and the complexities of how they express it.